They told you to play safe, to keep your head down, to stay humble, to wait your turn. But here's the truth: humble men stay invisible. They live quiet, they die quiet, and the world buries their names beneath the dust, never spoken again. Forgotten men don't build legacies. Forgotten men don't shape history. Forgotten men are fertilizer for the ones bold enough to rise above them. Empires are not built by the polite, not by the cautious, not by the ones waiting patiently for permission. Empires are carved into existence by the obsessed, the defiant, the ruthless, by men who refuse to bow, even when the world puts a gun to their head. Scarface wasn't just a movie, it was a mirror. A brutal reflection of hunger, of fire, of ambition so raw it burns through flesh. It wasn't about cocaine, guns, or violence that was surface. The real story was power, control, the truth that everything you want in this world has a price, and that price will demand blood. Scarface was never about Tony Montana's rise, it was about your own reflection in him. The world does not reward the humble. It does not hand crowns to the weak. It does not give thrones to those who wait in silence. The world takes, and only those willing to take it back rise to the top. Tony Montana didn't play safe. He didn't settle. He didn't apologize. He burned bridges, broke chains, and built a kingdom from ashes. But here's the lesson. It's not about becoming Tony. It's about waking up to the fire inside you. The fire you've let society choke out of you. The hunger you've buried to stay normal. The monster you keep caged because you were told to be polite. Wake up. Break the chains. Take what's yours before the dirt swallows your name forever. Because in this world, brother, you either rise with fire or you vanish in silence. Tony Montana came with nothing. No name, no power, no future. Just hunger. And hunger is the most dangerous weapon in existence. Because hunger is raw. Hunger is pure. Hunger doesn't ask for permission, it takes. Hunger will make a man stare into the abyss and grin like a devil. Hunger will drag you through blood, sweat, betrayal, and fire, just for a single taste of glory. Hunger makes pain irrelevant, makes fear laughable, makes death seem like just another obstacle in the way. A man with hunger doesn't care about the odds. He doesn't care about the rules. He doesn't even care about himself. All he sees is the target. All he feels is the fire. And that fire eats him alive until the only thing left is the mission. That's why hunger terrifies the comfortable. Because the comfortable play not to lose. The hungry, they play to kill. Comfort kills ambition. Comfort blinds vision. Comfort is the slow poison of men who once dreamed but settled. But hunger rips comfort apart. It says, I would rather die chasing more than live rotting with less. And that's why Tony Montana was dangerous. He wasn't chosen. He wasn't born into power. He was forged by poverty, by pain, by desperation. He turned that desperation into obsession. He turned his hunger into a weapon. He broke the cages others kneeled inside. He created a new reality, not because he was destined, but because he was starving. And when a man is starving, when he learns to sharpen that hunger into a blade, he doesn't just survive. He doesn't just climb. He conquers. He dominates. He takes it all. He didn't wait for permission. He didn't beg for scraps. He didn't sit in line nodding his head like a dog hoping for approval. Tony Montana took. He created opportunities with blood, with fire, with madness. While the weak sat in silence, whispering prayers that never left the ceiling, Tony carved his name into the world with a blade sharper than fear. He didn't knock politely on doors. He kicked them down and walked through the ruins. He didn't wonder if he was good enough. He made the world bow down to proof written in bullets, sweat, and scars. Here's the reality no one admits. Life doesn't reward the quiet, the patient, or the obedient. It rewards predators. It crowns the ones who stalk, strike, and never apologize for their hunger. Tony wasn't a product of the system, he was the virus that corrupted it. He made the system choke on his name until it couldn't breathe without him. He became the storm in a city built for sheep. He became the shadow behind every man's fear of being small, powerless, forgotten. And when the dust settled, when the smoke cleared, history didn't remember the obedient ones waiting in the corner. It only remembered the man who had the audacity to scream into the face of death itself. Say hello to my little friend. That's the truth polite society hides. This world is not given. It's stolen. Every throne is taken by blood, not patience. Every empire is built on audacity, not permission. If you don't have the guts to seize it, then someone like Tony will rip it from your hands and wear your crown as his trophy. And maybe that's why Scarface still burns in the minds of men. Because deep down, we all know the truth. History doesn't belong to the good. It belongs to the bold. Scarface wasn't about drugs. It was about the law of the jungle. A world where hesitation is execution, where weakness is nothing but blood in the water. The timid kneel. The ruthless rise. The sheep pray for mercy, while the wolves hunt without it. People think cocaine built empires. They're wrong. It wasn't powder that made kings. It was obsession. It was power. It was the refusal to live small, the refusal to die forgotten. Because here's the truth. The timid wait for permission. But permission never comes. The world doesn't hand you respect. It doesn't hand you freedom. It doesn't hand you destiny. The strong take it. They rip it out of reality, rewrite the rules, and carve their names into stone with blood, sweat, and fire. Scarface showed the one truth people spend their whole lives avoiding. The world doesn't care if you're kind. It doesn't care if you're humble. It doesn't care if you play fair. The jungle only respects two things: power and the courage to seize it. And once your eyes open to that truth, you can never go back. You start seeing through the illusions, through the lies of safety and fairness. You realize every handshake hides a knife. Every smile masks an agenda. And every man, whether he admits it or not, has a choice. To be the sheep, grazing, waiting, hoping someone protects him. Or to be the predator, hunting, building, conquering, unshakable. Scarface wasn't a warning. It was a mirror of the world you live in every single day. A mirror of the man you could become if you stop kneeling, stop begging, and decide to rise. Because in the end, every man has to answer the same question. Will I be prey, or will I become the predator? But understand this, power is not a gift. It's a curse with teeth, sharp enough to carve your destiny, but deadly enough to bleed you dry. The higher you climb, the more shadows gather beneath you. Every step upward makes you a lighthouse. And with every light you cast, you also expose yourself to the predators circling in the dark. Power is intoxicating, but it is also radioactive. It burns everything it touches, including the man who holds it. The moment you taste it, it sears into your veins, making you believe you're untouchable. And yet, every dollar you stack paints a target on your chest. Every throne you sit upon is surrounded not by friends, but by assassins disguised as admirers. Envy becomes your constant companion, slithering into every room you enter. Loyalty? A fragile illusion. It cracks under pressure, shatters under greed, and dissolves the moment weakness bleeds through. The applause you hear today will turn into whispers tomorrow. The same mouths that scream your name in glory will grin as they plan your downfall. That's the paradox of power. The higher you rise, the more alone you become. Tony knew this truth. He lived it. And yet he still reached for the crown with bloody hands and hungrier eyes. Why? Because once you've tasted real power, not money, not respect, but the raw ability to bend reality, to shape destiny, to make the world kneel when you command, you are never the same again. It poisons you. It rewires your soul. Suddenly, every moment without it feels like suffocation. Every day without it feels like dying in slow motion. You crave it the way an addict craves the needle, the way a drowning man craves air. Power stops being a choice. It becomes your oxygen. And once you've held it, once you've seen fear tremble in the eyes of your enemies, once you've seen obedience carve itself into the faces of your followers, you are no longer human. You can't go back to the ordinary. You can't walk among sheep after you've lived as a wolf. Because wolves don't retire. Wolves don't surrender. They either climb higher, ripping and tearing through every obstacle in their path, or they burn alive, consumed by the same fire that once gave them their strength. That's the truth Tony carried. Power doesn't just crown you, it chains you. And the moment you put it on, the game is no longer about winning. It's about surviving long enough to die on your own terms. Tony Montana died with bullets ripping through his chest. His body hit the ground, his empire collapsed, his enemies laughed. But his truth didn't die. That one line carved into history outlived every bullet, every enemy, every downfall. The world is yours. But don't misunderstand me, that isn't a slogan. It isn't graffiti on a wall, it's a law. A law written in fire, blood, and willpower. And here's the brutal reality, the world isn't for everyone. It doesn't belong to the meek who whisper someday. It It doesn't belong to the humble, who bow their heads and pray for a miracle. It doesn't belong to the weak, begging for permission to exist. The world belongs to the wolves, the ones who would rather choke on their own blood than starve quietly in the shadows. The obsessed maniacs who turn sleepless nights into bricks of empire. The ruthless architects who look fear in the eye, grin, and keep moving, because hesitation is death. The world belongs to the man who doesn't wait for doors to open, he kicks them down. The man who doesn't beg for a throne, he builds one from his scars, his sweat, his enemy's bones. The man who doesn't seek approval, he takes respect by force. Tony Montana's truth was never about cocaine, guns, or palaces. His truth was defiance. His truth was spitting in the face of a world that wanted him small, silent, and obedient. His truth was standing against giants with nothing but rage, hunger, and audacity. So you have two choices, two destinies, two graves. You can stay invisible. Another name the dirt swallows. Another face forgotten the moment the lights go out. Or you can become unforgettable. You can become the wolf, the storm, the nightmare whispered about in boardrooms and back alleys. You can become the kind of man who doesn't just live in this world, he bends it, breaks it, owns it, because the world will never be given to you. No one is coming with a crown. No one is handing you power. It must be taken. The world is yours, but only if you are savage enough to claim it.